work of the African American Business Leaders Council in the Valley, I feel is very important. Our mission is to lead economic empowerment, foster and recognize the excellence in the African American business community. We do this through partnerships with the other chamber councils and other groups throughout the community. In particular, the last couple of years, we partnered with Muhlenberg College and held events during Black History Month. But we also, and focusing on our businesses, offer business certification for minority and women-owned businesses so that they can expand their opportunities in terms of building their portfolio of customers. Uh, as a business owner, you know that networking is very important. So we sponsor networking mixers and this gala. And as part of the gala, we like to award and recognize our own Black business owners. And then lastly, our Black Business Directory is a resource that we hope the community takes advantage of, where we have a reservoir of Black-owned businesses that provide a variety of goods and services. And we hope that you promote that. And if you know someone who's not in it, we encourage you to ask them to join. At this point, I'd like to acknowledge our board members in attendance. I know that you can hopefully see some of them. They can either wave or do a reaction hand wave, but we have Bart Bailey, Tyree Blair, Josh Edwards, Joanne Leisure, Dr. Tina Richardson, Robin Riley Casey, Keela Vincent, and our newest board members that we'd like to welcome and recognize, Monica Brooks, Bria Dews, and Dr. Andrea Granum Moses. But then we also have a committee chairperson who's very consistent and loyal. So I'd like to recognize him as well, Obi Nduke. We have some special guests who are joining us this evening. I'd like to welcome Selena Winchester, representing the Office of Congresswoman Susan Wild. I'd like to welcome our own Board of Governors Chair, Mr. John Hayes, and our Vice Chair of the Board of Governors, Ms. Mary Lasicki. So again, I'd like to welcome all of our guests this evening. And as many of you know, these things couldn't be done without sponsors. So I'd like to recognize our platinum sponsor, Capital Blue Cross. Thanks, Ann Baum. Our gold sponsors, Courage to Care, our own Bart Bailey, Visions Federal Credit Union, Lizette Epps, our DEI champions, Air Products, thank you, Lori Hackett. Again, Capital Blue Cross, Ann Baum, Keystone Cancer Remedies, Joanne Gardanino, and Olympus, Ms. Tracy Gregory. Our silver sponsor, PPL, thank you, our own Monica Brooks. And special thanks for This Life Forever, Mishka Vodka, our own Black-owned distillery, Mr. Russell Fletcher, owner. Again, thank you for all your contributions. And let's give our sponsors a virtual round of applause. Or will we? Can we? At this point, I'd like to introduce our first presenter of the evening. I'd like to introduce Chloe Cole Wilson, co-founder of the Basement Poetry for Spoken Word. Chloe, it's all yours. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank y'all for having me. The African American Business Council is such an important organization for our communities, mostly because there's visibility of just Black excellence. So the work that I have for y'all today is actually original work for this event. So it's exclusive, it's for y'all. So I'm so excited to share the two poems that I have for you today. So the first poem I have is called Black Excellence. Black excellence. We honor our ancestors every time we open up shop. We honor them when we rise to our feet and protest. We honor them even in the midst of unrest because they were never able to get rest. Even when the microaggressions become aggressive, even after 60 years when we thought having a dream was enough, but in reality, MLK's speech was only the start. We still continue to climb mountains and valleys to hit the peak of equity. We find ourselves buying flowers for ourselves and placing them on our own tables. We own businesses that keep keep cities moving. We have used our talents to kickstart markets and still find space and energy to make sure we will never be set back. You see, we continue to find blessings under rocks and oppressions, and no matter what trials and tribulations come our way, we don 4C kinks and curls and locks and cornrows in the office. Melanin is always present under sunlight pressing through the windows that we bought. Sunlight illuminates the spaces we made for ourselves and others. You see, Black excellence is more than an ideology or a hashtag. It's a vibe, a movement, a promise to our ancestors that we will continue moving no matter what. Thank you. I know. I wish it was like in person so I can.
Very nice. Very nice.
So the second poem, I just want to address like quickly, I think Black and brown folks are always constantly being asked to be burnt and built to the core and burn themselves to the ground. So I wrote this poem about self-care. So the poem is called We Deserve. I hope you find yourself after all that working, buried under the need to be the foundation. We are told that if we aren't working, we are not worth anything during rest. We deserve apologies, our children are alive, our health, our home, our love, our magic, our herbs, our rituals, our religion, our sweetness, our ancestors' wealth, our peace. We deserve to be praised, to be honored, to be respected, to be alive, to breathe, to rest. So that's all I have for you. Thank you all so much for having me.
Yay, Chloe.
Yay, Chloe. Yay, Chloe. Yay, Chloe.
Great job. Great job.
Great. Great.
As you know, events have changed a little bit from what we're used to.
But that hasn't stopped us. Thank you, technology.
Oh yeah, hold on for a second. The diversity team is dedicated to hearing your needs, along with serving up the content and the events for your benefit.
We want to thank all of our volunteers for being able to make this year and every year happen for us.
Mom, we're out of toilet paper!
But for real, thank you.
So sit back, grab a snack, and enjoy the program.
Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion DEI Collaborative, an initiative of the Greater Lehigh Valley Chamber of Commerce, is a result of the growth and success of the Chamber's diversity councils. The mission of the collaborative is one of empathy building and intersectionality with the goal of driving change toward greater diversity, equity, and inclusion in the Lehigh Valley. A special shout out to all of our DEI champions. Logan, let's see your painting. Great job. Thanks so much to all of our champions and sponsors today. Your support is an important contribution to all of our work and growth.
So thank you all. You know, even the shout out at the end there for the DEI Collaborative. And one of the things I'll point out, you know, and I want to make sure we thank Chloe. Awesome work. You know, and so when we're talking about Black excellence and then rolling from there into self-care, it's been a long year, folks, and we're still in the midst of a lot going on. And so pulling some words from what Chloe said, how do we honor our ancestors? And then what kind of ancestors do we want to be when the road is done? And then the self-care, we do deserve this moment in time. And this is just a little moment for us to have some self-care for ourselves and with each other and really connect, right? Even though this virtual, there's ways to connect, right? So we're physically separated, but really we're still connected. So thank you, Chloe, for both of your poems. They were amazing. And one of the things I do want to say, you know, so my name is Bart Bailey, and I want to share with you pronouns he, him, and his. And if you're not familiar with that, there are some members of our community who do not get to say their pronouns, or at least be acknowledged for who they are. And so I'm a member of the chamber on the board, serve, you know, on some committees as well, and really, really engaged in trying to do the best that we can so that we can see each other's humanity. That's what I'm about. And one of the things I want to pull from that last video was really around this empathy thing, right? And so I hope that we really understand what empathy means. Do we really have the ability to appreciate someone else's perspective, suspend our judgment, recognize what's going on with somebody, and communicate our recognition of that, whatever they're experiencing. And so I want to move forward from there. And so we have an awesome auction, and I think it's important for me to give you some context. You're going to see a picture of this piece of work. It's a 12 by 16 piece of work that was created. The proceeds of this art is going to go to our scholarship fund. On the next screen, you're going to know that we're asking you to, you're going to use your cell phone. And so you're going to put AABLC student, and you're going to text it to the number. So when you put the to field to 44-321, and you'll see that in a second. This piece was created by Esmeralda, and we're going to take bids. And so we really want folks to bid on this piece. And so let me share with you, I think it's important that I got to tell you a little bit about this. So 2 years ago when we had the gala, Esmeralda, her father, Rafi, and her sister created a piece that we raffled off. This is another piece, and I'll share with you the connection to her and why I asked her family to do this. In 2018, here in Makunji, there was a kid that was trick-or-treating in a Confederate costume. This young lady who was in high school approached him after he had been knocking on doors and people handing candy. She was the person who had the courage to address and ask this person about that costume. And so this piece of work, I hope that you bid early, often, and a lot, because we really want to raise some funds for this scholarship and really honor her as well for the great work that she's doing. And so I'll stop there and really give us a chance to, I think we want to bid on it a little bit. So pull out your cell phone and get going, folks. I'm going to do my part too. And then and the next thing we will do is I'll get to This Life Forever by Mishka Vodka. We're going to do that in a second, but I want to give us a minute to really put our bids in. So pull out your phone and bid, folks, and then we'll keep going in a second. Let me get mine in. Now you hear my birds and all that. I'm sitting outside. So
all right, Bart, I got 2 bids. Top so far is 150.
Oh my gosh.
Excuse me, I have a quick question. John Rosario here.
Hey, John.
The number that I see on the screen is only 48226. That's all I see.
Sorry.
Is that what it is?
Can you see 0128 484?
No, wait. 0128. Okay.
Yeah. 484-226-0128.
I got it. Thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience.
No problem. So highest bid so far is 150.
Hold on. Messing me up.
Bart, it's my phone number. It's Danielle's phone number.
All right. Well, I'm having a little bit of problem with my phone here, but I'll raise the bid to $250.
Oh.
Did he just bid you out, Bart? For those of you that, Azalea, if you could take it back one screen, for those of you that want to, even if you just donate $1, you can text the word AABLC student to the number 44321. We'll take as whatever you can donate, and this all goes to our scholarship fund. All right, go back to the painting, Azalea, please. Uh-oh, I see Dan Bosket ready to type something in here.
I got to at least get in there. I got to get in there.
275, Bart Bailey. Don, I think he's trying to compete with you, Mr. Rosario.
$300.
All right, wait, I got. So far you're leading, Mr. Rosario. All right, so maybe we can go into the vodka tasting. If anybody else wants to text.
Yeah.
5 minutes during
Let's
vodka.
do that. We'll roll into the vodka. So thank you. And I like the competition. I'm gonna have to think about this now. So we're gonna move into This Life Forever, Mishka Vodka. And so we have Arthur Bella. Oh my God.
Bellaccio. That's
Bellaccio. We just said that too. Arthur Bellaccio. He said, just remember Pinocchio. Arthur Bellaccio is going to spend some time with us, and really, I got to go get my stuff. So I'm going to turn my camera off so I can go get my stuff, and I'll come back. So it's all yours.
Alrighty. Well, on behalf of Mishka Vodka, I'd like to thank you for inviting us to this very important gala. What I'm going to prepare to you today is considered a build cocktail. First, I'll just quickly talk about Mishka Vodka. We are a company based out of Allentown, Pennsylvania. We carry a product that is gluten-free, no sugar added, kosher, no GMOs. As you may know, we are the only all African-American owned distillery in the state of Pennsylvania. Very proud of that. We carry 3 flavors in our line, a pure, a honey, as well as a cranberry. Today, I'm going to be utilizing our pure to make a classic cocktail called a Moscow Mule. Now, we know that it's called a Moscow Mule. However, this cocktail was not created in Moscow. Sophie Grzinski in the early 1920s lived in Moscow. Her father owned a copper cup company. When she moved to America, she brought 2,000 copper cups with her. She moved actually to New York and then to Hollywood. Out in Hollywood at that same time, a gentleman by the name of John Martin created a vodka company called Smirnoff Vodka. And coincidentally, in the same town, there was a bar called Cock and Bull Bar that was owned by Jack Morgan. And so clear spirits weren't being drank as prevalently in the early 20s. Mostly people were drinking brown spirits. So Smirnoff really had a hard time in the beginning stages of their business. Sophie Grzinski came to America with 2,000 copper cups and sold about 0 of them. And then they ran into John Morris of the Cock and Bull Bar, who made in-house ginger beer, but everyone was utilizing ginger ale. So you had 3 people with 3 products that they could not utilize. They all met one another and they developed the Moscow Mule cocktail. And that's actually why it's served in a copper mug. Copper acts as an excellent thermal conductor. So that's why as soon as you put your lips to that copper mug, it just takes that heat right out of you and cools you down. So we'll start at the very beginning. Moscow Mule is 1.5 to 2 ounces of vodka. Oh my God. Sorry about that. Of course, I get hit with wind as soon as this starts. Can you see me? Alrighty. So the Moscow Mule starts with 1.5 ounces of pure vodka. What you're going to want to do first is start your slicing. So essentially, I'm going to cut a lemon in half. I'm going to cut 1 lime wheel, and this is going to be my garnish. I'm going to put this to the side for later. I'm going to cut it in half again, and then finally in quarters. So to start the preparation, this is a build cocktail. I'm going to build everything inside the mug. I'm going to start by filling my mug to the top with ice. And you don't want it to really go above surface tension, just to the top. I'm going to add 1.5 ounces of Mishka Vodka. And what you're going to want to strain the lime right over the mug itself. So I'm going to yield about roughly half an ounce, 0.5 ounces of lime juice out of this. Make sure you squeeze it really well. And then lastly, what we're going to do is top it with about 4 to 6 ounces of ginger beer. I'm going to pour from high just to really stimulate all the product and element that's in the glass. And then lastly, we have our quartered lime wedges, which we're going to squeeze over. I'm also going to accentuate the oils in this lime, which is going to help balance the flavor of the drink as well, and just drop that right in the drink. I'm going to squeeze the second quarter, drop that in the drink. And then lastly, you want to give it a gentle stir for about 5 seconds. You don't want to stimulate the ice very much because you don't want to dilute the drink. So it's a good 5 seconds. As soon as you see that frost on the exterior of your mug, you're ready to go. So now we have our lime juice, our vodka, as well as our ginger beer. Lastly, we're going to garnish this with a lime wheel, and you're all set. Cheers.
Arthur Bellocchio, that was amazing. So it's interesting though, but I gotta say, I didn't have all the other stuff, so I'm doing the best I can. But thank you for that.
Absolutely.
It was really good, and we got the recording, so I'll make sure that I do it properly the next time. And so what we're going to move into, and this is going to be kind of interesting, I want to introduce someone who I really believe is amazing, right? And so I'm not going to go through all her bio because I want to give her time. But Aida Rodriguez is someone who, prior to, there was a show on TV, a competition with some comedians, and I kind of saw her then, but prior to that, was familiar with her work, and then also kind of follow. She has a something else called Truth Serum that is really amazing as well. To really just really getting into some of the dialogues that some of the work that I do. Really touching into it in a way that's really authentic, vulnerable, and really open. And, so it is an honor and a privilege to kind of kick this off. And we spend 10 minutes to really have she's going to do some comedy, but, I also know that she brings in the social justice in the space most times as well. So I'm going to stop talking and get out of her way. So she can do what she needs to do. Now I don't know how we do this virtual because you can't get the feedback, but we're gonna figure it out. Thank you, Aida.
Thank you. I've done quite a few of these comedy shows online now, so I've gotten used to it. Sometimes they're a little rough. I got heckled by a dog. I was doing comedy and the dog started barking. It was very distracting. They didn't have it muted, but I put everybody on here so I can see everybody. And I'm happy to see people because I've been in quarantine with my daughter, my woke daughter, and I wish she would go back to sleep because she too woke for me. But and I know some of y'all woke. I see you I see the pronouns, and it's really an interesting space being a comedian today because everybody is scared to be canceled. Everybody's afraid that they're gonna offend somebody. And so I just set out to offend everybody so that no one feels special. I think it's important that we do. I'm Puerto Rican, for those of you who don't know what I am, because people look at me and they're like, what is she? And Puerto Ricans are Black people who speak Spanish. All it means is the boat stopped a little early. And some of us don't know our history and we push back, but it's a very interesting place to be. I grew up in a Black and brown neighborhood. And it was something that I had used to hear when I was younger all the time was, you think you cute because you light skinned and got good hair? And I didn't know. I was like, I'm light skinned and I got good hair. Like all the dark skinned Black girls in my neighborhood, and I'll say American Black girls because Puerto Rican girls are Black too. And the American girls, and I'd be like, I'm rolling with them because I didn't even know that I was light skinned and had good hair. And somebody said to me, if we were in slavery, you'd be in the house. And I was like, if we were in slavery, we'd be in slavery. What does my location matter? Right? I'd rather be out in the field with LeBron James than getting mishandled by the Quaker Oats man in the house. I know those jokes make some people feel uncomfortable, but that's why I'm here. Loosen up a little bit. It's don't act like it didn't happen. It's funny because I think people are so fake now, and as woke as we are and as advanced as we think we are, we're really fake. Like we pretend that we like our kids because, we've been indoctrinated into saying that we like our children. And I think that's confusing because we love our kids, but we don't like them. My daughter looked me in my eye and said to me, I hate you. And I was like, I'm so glad you said it first because I hate you too. I was like, from the depths of my soul, you are mediocre and entitled. And that's not a good combination. I could never say I hate you to my mother. My mother was crazy. If I ever said I hate you to my mother would kick me in my neck. I'd be walking around looking like the lady in the smoking commercial. I'd be like, I talk back to my mother. And she kicked me in the throat. Smoke cigarettes, don't talk back to your mother. That's how I would deal with it. I have never been able to talk to my mother that way. No matter how woke we get, it's not a possibility. That Puerto Rican lady is not having it. Actually, my mother stabbed my stepfather with an ice pick because he pushed her. And he said to me, what does that tell you about your mother? And I said, don't push mommy. Walk around that lady, because obviously she don't have a mom. But that's where I come from. I'm not ashamed of it. My grandmother shot my grandfather because he cheated on her. And I asked her, what did you do when you shot him? She was like, we just worked it out. Cheaters don't get to go to the hospital. She said, we took care of him at home. If he lives, that means Jesus forgave him. So that is how I grew up. I see Wayne turned his face. He got nervous when I made that joke. Wayne, I see you. But that's how we grew up. And, you know, like being in a business where people are in the business of pretending, I like to just be real about comedy and my life and the experiences that I've had as a person of color in this country who identifies with her Blackness and Afrocentricity. And I just think it's important that we tell the truth. And in the jokes, we get to tell the truth. You know, I politically, comedians are nervous to talk about politics. I take them all on. My son is very political. He was talking to me the other day. He was like, I don't know if you know this about me, but I am a Democrat. And I said, I don't know if you know this about you, but you are a dependent. You are line 11A on my taxes. And nobody really cares what you think. You don't even know how to take a good bath yet. So I don't need to hear about your politics. I need you to go wash them dishes. That's what I need you to do, young man. I think that parenting has been very challenging for someone like me, where I come from. I come from the hood. And so having a daughter who ran track and never won races was very challenging for me. She kept coming home with participation ribbons. And don't nobody want to drive the loser home. That's not what we want to do. She was coming home with the white ribbons. I wanted the blue ones, Joanne. It was embarrassing to drive her home. You drive her home like you in a bank robbery. You tell her to lay down in the back seat till we get to the freeway so nobody can see I'm taking you home. It was hard. And, you know, she would say things to me like her friends' parents would say, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. All that matters is if you try your best. And I would always say, did you say parents with an S on the end? Because I'm a single mother and your track club costs more than my car. So you either win a race or you run home. Those are your two options because we're not doing this anymore. It's embarrassing. I've come under a lot of fire about making fun of my kids. I had, you know, a lady say to me, I called my daughter the B word. She said, I can't believe you called her a bitch. I would never call my daughter a bitch. And I said, how old is your daughter? She said 3. I said, you shouldn't be calling that baby the B word. She's a baby. But when that bitch turns 16, you will remember me. Everybody in here is laughing because everybody in here knows exactly what I'm talking about. They hit that age, you will turn into Tupac. You will turn into the gangster of all gangsters when they turn 16. I don't know what it is about that age, but ooh, that girl is, you know, she's older now, so she's a little bit more manageable. But like I said, she's woke, and I don't have a problem with being woke. I fight for the justice and equality of all people all the time. My problem with woke people is that they can't fight. And it's hard to fight for people who can't fight. You know, they don't have hands. They can't fight. Like, they're always like, words hurt. I'm like, so do uppercuts. Y'all better learn how to block. You can't take a hashtag to the fight. You can't take a hashtag to the fight. So I want y'all to learn how to fight in all ways. And I don't just mean by being violent. I just mean by learning how to defend yourself. I look at the judgment that I get. I'm working on a special right now about, it's about fighting. And I told those kids to stop calling me auntie on Instagram because I think it's a microaggression to try to make you feel old. Like they'll call you auntie. Maxine did not okay y'all calling her auntie, and I surely don't. Y'all not my nieces and nephews. My nieces and nephews know how to fight. Y'all are not my nieces and nephews. If y'all were my nieces and nephews, I still wouldn't claim y'all because y'all don't have hands. I think it's important to stand up and fight for what you believe in. I think people who are people of color, Black people in this country, are always asked to show up and have a higher moral standard than the people who treat us poorly. And I think it's important that we have a fight within us. And that doesn't mean being violent all the time, but sometimes somebody need to get punched in the stomach a few times. It's okay. They'll be all right. I just think that that's healthy. I'll tell you what, and I know everybody in here can relate to this story. When I was in kindergarten, this girl who was a bully kicked me in my neck. And I'm tall, I'm 5'10". I've always been tall. So she had a vertical leap out this world. She kicked me in my neck and I did not fight her back. And I have held on to that. At this age, I am still angry that I did not fight this girl back. And if I ever see her, I'm gonna beat her up. I owe her. She could be in a wheelchair and I'm gonna still swing on her. I don't care. I owe her this beat down. And so John, don't judge me, John. I see you, John Hayes, judging me. I'm gonna beat her up because I owe it. I owe it to her. And I think everybody feels this way. And, you know, at the end of the day, as I close this, I think that many of us feel held down and angry. And yes, Black people in this country have been mistreated, and it is not a secret. And people of color have been mistreated, and women have been mistreated. But I just think that if we all got together and we picked up a stick like that Asian lady in San Francisco and just started popping people upside the head, we would be okay. And listen, the funny thing about that lady was that a white supremacist left his house and said he was gonna beat up an old lady, punched her in the face, her eye was swollen, but he left on the stretcher. So I don't know if she woke, but I know she got hands, and I'll go to any fight with that lady because that lady stood up for herself. And I believe that it's important for us to make sure that when, even as a comedian, I feel the responsibility to talk about the things that matter to us, because I think too many of us are tap dancing and not using our platforms to really speak up for, you know, the righteousness. So Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Azelia Chacon, you have the last name of one of my heroes. She's up on that wall, Edith Chacon, because I'm Puerto Rican. I think it's important that we are true about, you know, and I'll end with this joke. I did it on Netflix. I got a lot of backlash from my Latinos. You know, I'm half Puerto Rican and half Dominican. And every weekend they used to take me to the salon and try to blow dry the Dominican out of me, because Latin people can be very anti-Black and self-hating and racist. You know, Dominicans think they're better than Haitians because they speak Spanish, and then the Cubans be thinking that they're better than the Dominicans because some of them are lighter and whiter, and the Puerto Ricans think they're better than everybody because they're citizens. But the white supremacists look at all of us and say, send all the Mexicans home. So if I have offended you, lighten up, go read a book, connect with somebody. It's not always about you. I'm a stand-up comedian, not a rocket scientist, and I am here to make you laugh and think, and not to appease your issues that you've been dealing with since you were little. As you can see, I'm still trying to beat someone up from kindergarten. So have a great day, and thank you so much for including me in this. It's just, I'm so happy to see people. John is sitting there with his wife, happy, looking good, and like they get along. And I'm like, you know, when they turn this off, they'll probably just resort to both sides of the house. So anyway, thank you so much for just letting me be here. And if you haven't seen me on Netflix, check it out. And I am working on an HBO special, Black Lives Matter and Melanin is Divine. And I love everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Don't call me auntie.
The power of genetics is undeniable, but when it comes to our health and well-being, zip code is more important than genetic code. The very place we call home impacts the choices we make and the care we receive, from solving food insecurity to providing access to health screenings. Capital Blue Cross is investing in the health of our communities. Rooted in central Pennsylvania and the Lehigh Valley, backed by national strength. Capital Blue Cross.
All right. Again, thanks to Capital Blue Cross, our leading sponsor, but also thanks to Aida. I think she made all of us smile a little bit, some laughs. Hopefully no one was offended, but I see in the chat, people are saying definitely needed some of that because we all need to lighten up a little bit. So, you know, it's evening time after a full day at the scaffold, as we say. I think it's good for us to chill out a little bit with the Moscow Mule and enjoy some comedy. So thanks to Aida. Again, the African American Business Leaders Council, we try to highlight African American businesses. And then we looking at business to highlight where the business is a good part of the community. They help contribute to what's going on. The business owner may be a social activist, could be a distinguished business person, or it could be a community icon or a combination of all of the above. So this evening, it's my pleasure to announce our award winner for this year's gala, Mr. Winston Barnes, who I've known for almost a decade now. Winston's West Indian and American restaurant is located on 7th Street in Allentown in the 600 block. I've been there numerous times, so many to count. Winston opened up in 2009 here in the Lehigh Valley. We sent his bio out with you, so I won't spend a lot of time on that, but we do have some testimonials from individuals who know Winston who'd like to say a few things in honor of our awardee this evening. So I'm going to ask Azalea if she would dial up the testimonials.
Mr. Winston bring people together with his restaurant and help people of different culture come together through the food he serves. I have known him for over 30 years, and his help to me has been invaluable. He is a kind man to me and does a lot for his community.
My name is Deania, and I want to start off by congratulating Winston for this honor that's been bestowed on him today by the African American Business Council. I've known Winston for about 13 years, and it all started when I was having the 80th birthday party for my mom, and I was looking for someone to cater. Someone recommended Winston to me, and I met with him, discussed the menu, the pricing, and where the event was going to be held. And he decided he would be able to do the catering. So the event came, was a great success, but the biggest talk of the evening was who catered, who was the caterer. Everybody wanted to know. So I told him Winston's, but at that time he didn't have a restaurant. So a few years later, he decided to take his skills to Allentown, and he opened up the Winston West Indian restaurant on 7th Street in Allentown. I was happy to spread the word that Winston was finally in town, and everybody could go there to get this great food that they have been asking me who catered. Winston continued to grow. He was very hardworking, and I watched with pride as his business grew, and he flourished and became very successful Winstons that we know today. He continues to be hardworking and putting in the extra hours that's been keeping him on top of the rest in the restaurant, in the West Indian restaurant market. So I just want to say congrats again to you, Winston. And you really, really deserve this award. Congrats.
Good evening, friends. My name is Hopeton Clennon. I first met Mr. Winston Barnes in 2009. I walked into his restaurant on 7th Street and sampled what he had to offer. I was immediately in love with both the quality and the quantity of what he served. I admire his professionalism. I recall asking him to cater an event for me. We had 600 persons to feed, and Winston was punctual, and the quality for this mass cooking was just as good as what I had enjoyed in his restaurant. On occasion, I have taken small groups, maybe 4 or 6 friends, who are trying Jamaican cuisine for the first time. I have taken them to his restaurant, and Winston has accommodated us beautifully. In the days before COVID, when we could sit inside his restaurant, he would set up a family-style arrangement for us, allowing my friends to sample a variety of what Winston has to offer. I especially want to mention Winston's commitment to community service. I provide a meal for a homeless shelter on the south side of Bethlehem every couple of months or so. And over the years, I have swung by Winston's restaurant and asked if they would cook dinner for these 25 men. And Winston would not hesitate. He would provide it for me at minimal cost, and I deeply appreciate his generosity. Heartiest congratulations on your award. I know it reflects the hard work you have put in over the years. I also know that the restaurant business has slim margins. So I wish you the very best this year and for many years to come. Congratulations, Winston.
Hi, Dad. I want to say a special congratulations to you. All of the long hours, your strong work ethic has finally gotten the attention that was long overdue. I am so proud of you. I love every aspect of you waking up in the morning, doing what you absolutely love to do. You did something that a lot of people and a lot of businesses couldn't do. You survived a pandemic, and that's a testament to the love of your craft and the love of your customers. Dad, I am so very proud of you, and I wish you nothing but the best. Congratulations.
And finally, Winston, I want to pass along and convey congratulations from your business neighbor on 7th Street, Mr. John Rosario, who was also the winner of the auction. So John wishes you congrats as well. He had to jump off, but at this time, you've heard the testimonials, and I think I was looking at the chat. Many people said, I was there, I've been there, and I know the experience. So I'd like to present at this time, and Mr. Barnes, you have your award there that we could take a peek at. Since we're doing virtual, we actually delivered the award this morning, so we told him that he'd have to hold it up virtually. So at this time, I'd like to congratulate our winner, Business Owner Recognition this year, Mr. Winston Barnes, Winston's West Indian and an American restaurant. Mr. Barnes, you duly deserve the honor. Many people, as the testimonials have said, you've been the man on 7th Street for a long time. So let's hear what you have to say, Winston.
Wow, that was amazing. My heart is so filled right now to hear the testimonies of all these people. It's mind-boggling. It's happiness, pleasure. It's everything. First of all, I want to say good evening to everybody, to friends, neighbors, the community, the African American business leaders. To Dan, I need to mention Peter Lunis's name. You know, I first met him from the Community Action Committee when I came in 2009. And Peter took me under his wings, you know, until he passed me on to Dan. And, you know, they have treated me so well, you know, I could always go to them for anything that I needed, you know, as far as pushing me forward. And I truly appreciate them. Next, I want to say thanks to God for bringing me on this journey. It's been a beautiful ride, you know. I'm a funny guy, you know, and I do get emotional, so don't pay me no attention if you see a little tear trickle down. You know, it's heart-filled, you know, it feels real good. It's payoff, like this, my daughter say, for getting up at 6 o'clock in the mornings and work long days, never complained. You know, I'm here whether it rains, it snows, you know, I get up. And I remember one day coming to work and 10 inches of snow, and somebody said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to open my restaurant." And I did. You know, that's Winston. However, you know, I have so much to say, I don't even know where to start. But 7th Street is a wonderful place to be. Also, when I first came here, you know, it was a little bit shaky, but I watched the rebirth of 7th Street. You know, the infrastructure being fixed, the sidewalks being leveled so I could walk, because I don't walk that good, you know, so, you know, I was happy about that. Then I watched the planters going in, and then we talked about how they're going to get watered, because they didn't get there yet, you know. And me and Peter and company said, "Well, Winston, you have to water the plants." I said, "No problem." I would catch buckets of water and go across the street and water the plants, because I do love flowers. Then they offered me some awning for my business, and also tables and chairs that my customers could dine outside, which is a good thing, because like they said in one meeting that I attended, the more people that we get into the streets is the safer our community becomes. And then that's a big plus. I have gotten a lot of experience just being here. You know, I have met the most wonderful people in my 74 years of life. You know, Allentown is diverse. It's gold. You know, it's a gold mine. People just keep coming. You know, I have the privilege of meeting some people that walked into the restaurant and they go, "I need some information," as if I was the information center. And here goes Winston again. And I watch them move into the Lehigh Valley. Some of them live distance away, but they always come back, always come to Winston. I have an experience I want to share. I remember two elderly ladies coming into the restaurant one day, and they said, we were in church and the pastor mentioned your name. So we came to find out, who is this Winston? Why is he so special? So they sat down to eat. I personally attended to them, brought their food to them. Next thing they said, we can't eat all this food. I'm a very jovial person, so what I said, just act like you're at a party. They had a party, they ate, and was very happy, you know. Stuff like that, you know, makes me feel so good to be able to serve a community like this. You know, I feel real honored. I could tell you another experience that I've had along the way. I had this little boy, he was 9 years old at the time when I met him. His parents would come in and they would buy food for him. And his 10th birthday, they asked him where he wanted to go. And he said, I want to go to Winston. Of course, it continued for 3 years. On the 3rd year, he brought his whole family. I have a small place, you know. I had to put all my chairs and tables together to facilitate them. And it was such a warm experience, you know. Should I tell you more? I was serving one evening. As a matter of fact, I need to tell the rest of that story. The kid came in a couple of months ago and it said to me, Winston, how are you? And I said, I'm fine. He said, Winston, it looked as if you didn't remember me or you don't remember me. I said, no, I don't. And this kid is now about 6 feet tall. And he said, I was that little boy that used to come for my birthday. You know, tears came to my eyes, you know, to see that you never forgot me, never. I knew something good was going to happen on 7th Street for me, because in my first couple of years, I remember the kids from colleges would come in to eat. And after a while, they were like family to me. They would graduate from school, and the last day of graduation, they would come back to say, Winston, we're leaving. You know, we've graduated and I've got my master's or my bachelor's or whatever, and I've gotten a job and I have to go, but I have to come back to say goodbye to you. Stuff like that is heartwarming. You know, it makes you feel good, you know. There was times when these kids would come by from different colleges, like I said, and they would say, Winston, I would like to share or spend 15 or 20 minutes with you. I just want you to tell me, how do I go about in opening my own business? And I'm like, what am I gonna say? You know, but you know, I spend the time to sit down with them and tell them a thing or two, you know, because I do have a lot of experience. I grew up in a small business. My parents had a business, restaurant and grocery business. So I was always around people, you know, and I knew what people really wanted, you know, and these kids were so happy for me to give them the information so that they could go and write their papers and stuff like that, you know. So, like I said, I knew there was great things about to happen for me on 7th Street. During the pandemic, you know, everybody was scared. I was scared, you know, and I said to myself, you know, I would go home at night and no sleep. I'd get up 5 o'clock in the morning. Winston, what are you going to do? How are you going to pull through this? And God loves me. I don't care what nobody says. He talks to me. He tells me what to do, and I listen. And I did all that I heard, and the pandemic didn't faze me at all. Even my staff around me, they supported me. They came to work, and we did what we had to do. At this time, we just close on Mondays and make sure we sanitize and clean and fix and shop. But we took one day out of the work week to make sure that we keep everybody safe. And it's been a blessing so far. Everything is going fine. I know that I don't have all day to talk now, but and I'm a talker.
Remember,
I'm shy, but I can talk.
10 minutes, and you said, "I'll never talk for 10 minutes."
You know, I have had people that wanted to get married. Couples come to me and said, "We're getting married," and after I did a couple of weddings before I came to Allentown, and I noticed that all the people that I had provided.
Still there, Winston? Looks like he may have frozen for a minute there. Looks like we got a technology Technology challenge.
Cook.
Oh,
There you go.
Because once I cook, you'll never leave each other. I said it as a joke, but it's reality, you know. Every once in a while, these people come back holding arms to look for Winston. Say, Winston, how you doing? We didn't forget about you. You know, we'll always remember you. And stories like that is what keeps me going. You know, I love Allentown. It's a wonderful place to be. And I watch it growing, and Allentown will get better. Thank you guys so much. I know I might have overspoke my length of time, but thank you very much for my award. You know, it's a blessing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Winston. Everyone loves you. I hope that you have gotten a chance to look at the chat and see all of the people who are thanking you and congratulating you. Muhlenberg students love you. So it's just so wonderful that you have been in the community and all of the things that you've done for the community. It's obvious that people really hold you in high regard. So congratulations on this honor. My name is Joanne Leisure. I own a business as well, Black-owned business in the Poconos as well as the Lehigh Valley. And it's called Day One Accounting and Financial Services. And I'm here today as part of the African American Business Leaders Council to thank everyone, especially for coming, thank the committee, the marketing committee who put this event together. You know, we work all together very hard. Once a month, we get together with all of our creativity. So thank you, marketing committee. Thank you to our sponsors. We want you to keep up with us on Facebook for all upcoming events, the AABLC page. And don't forget to text your scholarship donations to AABLC student to 44-321. Before we go, you remember that the theme of today's gala is called The Promised Land. So if you can all just take a moment for a quick exercise, I'd love to see you close your eyes and think about what Promised Land means to you. What does it look like? What does it feel like in these days of the pandemic, in these days of all the things that are going on in the news, with all of us wanting more for ourselves in our community? What does the Promised Land mean? So I hope that you hold on to that. Thanks for hanging with us this evening and just have a great night. I'll give it back to you.